supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Not really like super hard. Okay. Movie review. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Woo, woo, woo. We had some good crab merch. I'm just gonna type that. Anyway. Okay, we got that. And let's move this to here. Okay. Welcome to the Graffiti Jungle. Paulo Pulingue, benvenuti nella giungla del graffiti. Questo è Impastore, Rockstar, it's the fake Rockstar chat, share pensieri, tangentiali, 4 minutes, into Star chat, show shout out to my dog Bailey. Podcast, we cigar talk podcast. We have not had a cigar yet in 2026, and this is bullshit. But, however, I am ready. We're going to use questo è primo soggetto. I think that means first subject. We'll see. I'm going to translate that just a little bit better. But, because soggetto, atto, soggetto, uno. Primo soggetto. I want to say something like that. Ottava soggetto. I want to start saying like primo, second, primo, come secondo. I got to figure out how that's supposed to work. First, second, third. Still trying to count in Italian. Just switching up a little bit. All right, sono otto capo, io sono Chief Judge, Ulysses, Augusta, Carrera, Napoleon. Right. Everything, everywhere, all at once. The movie's weird, bro. The movie is weird, bro. There's some BDSM. There are other like, deviant, sexual topics that are just touched upon, kind of, sort of, not really explored, but it's just like it's in there, bro. It's just a lot. It took me a while to just finally say this movie was weird, bro. This movie is weird, bro. It's definitely like it's okay. It's definitely decent. It's not bad. It's not a bad movie at all. It's pretty good. It's decent. It's decent. It's a decent movie. The last little part. So I had 30 minutes. And I was ready to. Bro, this is a long movie, bro. The movie 2 hours long. The movie's 2 hours long. So part 1 was the longest. That was everything. Part 2, the everywhere. Part 3 was like this last little. Was literally the last little. The all at once part was like the last little 9 minutes or so. So everything, everywhere, all at once. So the last part I ended off on was like at the hour and 1:45 mark. And so basically, her daughter, Jobu Tapaki, whatever, her daughter is trying to get her to come into like the little portal thing, into the bagel. And just like in all of this, and they just finally like stop all this and just, die. Kick the can. Like, just end all this. So the main character, Evelyn Wang, she goes on this like wave of trying to. She goes on a wave of trying to like keep everything together. Like, so she has a whole. So the last time I was talking about, she was talking about with her husband. He's a positive, optimistic guy about this and the third. He's caring and da-da-da, but yeah, laundry and taxes. If her choosing him, them going off, getting married, they do laundry and taxes and be stressed out about shit. And nothing matters. And other timelines is in the third. So basically, he said, whenever I choose to be optimistic and look at the bright side of the things, I'm not being naive. He's like, I'm not being naive. It's strategic and necessary so we can just survive through all this. So he was like, I fight, but I don't fight the way you fight. So, I'm not a lover, not a fighter. I fight for what I love. He said something along those type of lines or whatever. So she has her, so like, mind you, it's the whole thing with her daughter. After the whole thing with her daughter, then it's the whole thing with her husband. And then it's a couple of points touched upon. It didn't spend too much time with the IRS lady, but in the other universe where they don't have fingers, they got hot dogs for fingers and limbs, her and the IRS lady are together. And she even says like her and because remember the IRS lady gives them an extension, and she was like, what did she said something like, what did her silly husband say to her? And so she was like, he told me that I was going on, and she was like, he told me the situation. 'Cause remember, her husband had the divorce papers, and so she was like, she remembered when she got served divorce papers. And she was like, we're just some unlovable bitches or something like that. And so she was like, even in a universe where there's always something to love and this and the third, even in a universe where we have hot dogs for fingers, we get good with our feet and our toes. And, there's always something to love and this and the third. So she says that to her or whatever. With her father, she has a different type of whatchamacallit with her father. And basically, with her father, and one of the things, it was like he let her go, but he told her not to go off with him or whatever. But so one thing with her father, she was like, well, the one part I remember right now, she's like, okay, you don't have to be proud of me because I'm proud of me. You don't have to be proud of me. I'm proud of me. But she was like, the one thing that kind of bothered her was like, well, she was like, why'd you let me go so easily? She's like, why'd you let me go? And how did you let me go so easily? So that's what she was saying to her father. And she's like, you know what? You don't got to be proud of me because I'm proud of me. Now, so she goes through all of these things of just on the third. And then, so in each timeline, in all the little universes, she does something to fuck up each situation. So she fucks up her life in every timeline. She does that. Right? She says, I'm gonna fuck this. Oh, don't fuck this shit. She does something to fuck it all up. Right? And then it comes back to a moment where it's like kind of getting like cleaned up. Where she like, even after she messes it all up, she tries to like clean it up. And then after trying to clean it up, like they go through each one of these, with each one of these little universes, it goes through a space of trying to, okay, instead of clean it up, she ruins it, tries to clean it up, and then it just still fails, like flops. Each one of them does that, and then she still, and then the last little part is like, okay, she still comes back and still tries to, does a last little push, hoorah, and get everything back on track. So there's that. So she does that, and after she does that, she does the whole little thing with that. Like that's literally, this back little part was like a lot of like time. Low-key kind of sort of wasted. It was just like a whole bunch of dragging it out. It was just like, bro, this movie's 2 hours long. So it like literally that whole thing was, she's trying to put it all together, then she fucks it all up, and then she has to, and then it ends up, she's doing each all of them. She does something to fuck it all up, and then she tries to clean it up. It fails anyway, and then she tries to, and then another whole going through each one of them trying to clean it all back up again still. And so like even as she's doing all this whole little cleanup, her daughter is trying to like still walk into the bagel. Like, all right, you fine. You can go do this and the third. And then it comes back to her daughter again. That's what it says. She tries to fix the whole thing with her daughter, and she's like, this time, in the beginning of the movie, her daughter tried to talk to the grandfather, and she was like, oh, and he was like, your Chinese get worse every time. And then she didn't even know the words for it. So her mom comes in. It's a good friend. It's a good friend. That's what she is. But then the next part, her mom's like, this is Becky and this is her girlfriend. And then she even has a whole thing with her father. She was like, yeah, everything this has there is wrapped into her. All them problems and this and that there is wrapped into one person, which is your granddaughter. And so this is her girlfriend, and this and that third, woo. So it's that whole thing. But then her daughter is still like, she's trying to, hold on to her daughter. Her daughter's still trying to walk into the bagel. Her daughter, even after she does the whole thing with introducing her daughter girlfriend to her dad, her daughter still like storms out, walks out to the car, Um, this and the third. But they have this whole little thing. Because remember, she did say to her dad, "Why'd you let me go so easily?" And then like there is this one little part where her daughter's trying to walk into the bagel, and so she's holding on to like they do this whole little fight. So that's why I appreciate it being like taking on the kung fu and adding those in there. Like the reason is like the kung fu scenes aren't short. The kung fu scene, the fighting scenes are long enough that you have to talk about the kung fu fighting scenes because the fighting scenes they're not like short, like they're decent amount of time, like they will spend like a couple minutes fighting, and so like you have to focus on the fight scenes, like you can't ignore that. But even when they start fighting at the end, the daughter and the mom, when they go to fight again, it's them. It's more comical. It's more funny. The mom is doing the more comical, funny, and just like trying to fight with love and da da da. But anyway, the daughter tries to walk into the bagel, and then she grabs her. But then her granddad and her father are also grabbing her and like holding on to her. That's the whole thing. In that little universe. Then what was the other part? I'm trying to see if there's another little part worth mentioning. She said it was like one of the like things was her talking to her father like, "How'd you let me go so easily? How'd you let me go and how'd you let me go so easily?" That was one thing. The only other part that's coming to me right now. The only other part that's coming to me right now was the what did she say? At the end, her daughter is going into the car, and she says to her daughter like, because her daughter's basically like, "Just let me go," and she's like, "You just turned 30, just let me go," and so she's like, "Okay," and so she's going to let her daughter step into the bagel, even the one where she's like a rock, because she was like trying to get closer to her as a rock. Like, she's like, "What are you doing? We're rocks." And she's like, you can't do this. You can't move. We're rocks." And she was like, "There are no rules. Come here." She's like, "No, get away. What are you doing?" So even as a rock, she's like, "Man, just let me go." So even as a rock, she watches her daughter like fall off the side of the cliff. She as a rock, she rolls away. So like there's that. But then but I'm saying like they do the whole thing of her trying to fix it. It still falls apart. And then she still does something else to try to fix everything else. Even the part with the little raccoon guy, the Ratatouille thing. I don't know. I never watched the movie Ratatouille, so I don't really understand that reference like that. Because she even puts him on her shoulders. And now, like, there was one part, she did the whole thing with the raccoon. And then she's like, then they're going to try to chase after it. He's on her shoulder. No, she's on his shoulders. And then he kind of like falls. And then and then she like the part of that universe is she picks him up, puts him on her shoulders. She's running super fast, and then she throws him to go save the raccoon or whatever. And then like even in the even in the one universe where her and her husband didn't get together, well, that's the thing, her and her husband, like they didn't get together. He's rich and she's rich, but they weren't rich together. And so he was like, you know what? He's the one that's smoking the cigarette. He's the one smoking the cigarette. But even he's like, what does he say to her? Even in another lifetime, I would have been happy doing laundry and taxes with you. So it's one of those type of things. Like in one of their timelines, they're both rich, but they never got married. And this and the third. But he's still like, you know what? I would have been okay doing laundry and taxes with you. So there's that, and then. What was the other? See if I can remember the other little thing that was with it. The last little part is all at once. I'm trying to remember any. The other little thing that she says to the daughter, she says, so in the beginning of the movie, what did she say she said something to the daughter, like the daughter's getting in the car, and she's like, "Wait." And so before the daughter gets in the car, she's like, "You're getting fat. You need to eat healthier." Right? So, and then she like turns and walks back into the store. This time, at the end of the movie, she just said, so this time she goes in, she's like, you are getting fat. You do need to whatchamacallit. And you never call me. We have a family plan and you never call me. You only show up you only show up whenever you need something. And it's like, so she actually still whatchamacallit. And she was like, and you got a tattoo, knowing I hate tattoos. So she's still whatchamacallit. So she goes on this whole little joint. She was like, we have a family plan and you never call. And the only time you show up is when you need something. It's the only time you ever come around. You got a tattoo. You know I hate tattoos. And da-da-da, boo, boo. And then so her daughter says the whole thing, but there's only a couple of specks of time that I actually understand. Everything else is confusion and nothing matters. And then she was like, but you know what? She says the whole thing like, yeah, you are fat and you never call. And but she was like, I still cherish. She was like, there's only a couple of moments in time that actually make sense. Everything else is like confusion. And so, but the mom was like, you know what? I cherish those times and I cherish those moments. Those little specks of time and moments where where those are the only parts that make sense. I cherish those moments and those times with you. And basically she was like, I'm still choosing you. I will still choose you. I'm still choosing you and to be, and within all of this confusion, and then there's only those little bit of times that really make sense, I'm still choosing and cherish to be those moments with you. And then so the last part of the movie is called All at Once. And so this time the daughter's girlfriend Becky gives them all a ride to the IRS place. The mom, her dad, and her husband and her daughter, basically the family. The mom, let's see, the mom's name is Evelyn. She's the main character. Her husband, his name is Waymond. And the daughter's name is not Jobu Tubaki. But I'm kind of forgetting the daughter's name right now. It's crazy. But then the dad's name is Gong Gong. So, but basically, yeah. Her dad, her husband, and her daughter, they all go to the IRS meeting. And the daughter's like, oh, I gotta pee. And then her husband's like, oh, I do too. And so she was like, okay. She's waiting there with her dad. Her dad's in a wheelchair. But she tells her husband to give her his fanny pack while he's going to the bathroom. And then he gives it to her. And then she puts her arms around him and she kisses him. That was the only time they kissed in the movie. At that part, right at the end of the movie, they kissed. And so they kiss, and then he goes to the bathroom, and then they go to the whole IRS meeting, and she was like, this is better, this is way better, and this and the third. But you still got it's something that still needs to get fixed or something like that. So it's like everything was better, but something still needs to get fixed. And so she was like dozing off, like not dozing off. I'm not sure the word. I forget the little word. She's not dozing off, but she what the heck is that word? Where you're, I don't know, but she's just kind of she tunes out, basically, what's going on, and she kind of was like looking at her daughter, her husband, and her dad, and then the IRS lady's like, "Are you?" And she's like, "I'm sorry, what did you say?" Like, so she kind of tunes out a little bit, and then just kind of appreciating it, and she's like, "What did you say?" It was definitely a decent movie. It's not a 10 out of 10, but it ain't no 6 out of 10 or nothing like that. It's a very decent movie. I wouldn't mind. Would I recommend? Sure. It's a cool movie to watch. It's a cool movie to watch. Whatever it makes you then think about or whatever, fine. But it's a decent movie to watch. It's nothing. But if you don't watch it, that's fine too. If you do or don't, whatever. But it's a decent little movie. So I definitely It was cool. It was cool. It was cool. It had a couple. It had a couple, you know, talking points. It had some really good. There's a couple things in it that stuck out to me, like lines that I still remember. I look at the quote. I look at quotes and like on the script side of things. So, like, just one of those. I laughed, but it was like, what'd she say? She said, "I saw my life without you in it. I wish you could have saw it." She's like, "It was beautiful." That shit was like, whoa, what? Then dude was like, "You're the worst version of you. You didn't pursue any of your dreams, any of your plans. That's why every other version of you was able to be successful. Cause you fucking suck." That was the whole thing. Um, and what was the other part? Uh, the one thing with her husband, that last part where he's smoking a cigarette, he's like, me choosing to look at things from a positive, optimistic standpoint perspective is not me being naive. He said it's strategic and it's necessary. Like I have to sit there and kind of sort of do this to survive, and this and the third. He's like, in another lifetime, I wouldn't mind doing laundry in Texas with you. You know what I'm saying? Um, her when she talked to her dad and she's like, "How did you let me go? How'd you let me go so easily?" Um, and then how that kind of like then kind of trickled down into like how she treated or cared about, or there was a lack thereof caring, like those type of things with her daughter. Um, but I knew, like at some point I knew it was like, okay, this is gonna be one of the movies where she kind of like, it's the whole point of it is she goes through this whole little whatever experience or whatever, and it's so that she has a newfound appreciation for her husband, her dad, and her daughter, and just her life as is. So there was that. Uh, so there was also there's another movie I saw. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I forget the name of it for real, but it's in my movie reviews. Um, Maybe Once About a Time or something like that. I think it's something like that or whatever. But in that movie, he has the whole uh, with like timelines and stuff like that. He can time travel, but one of his main lessons in the movie is, okay, you go through it one way. His the the advice that his dad gave him was live every day once, go through it, go through the pains, the agony, the struggle, the boring, the fun, whatever, go through it once, and then relive the day again. But the second time you do it, completely just have fun with it, you know? Um, and so it did kind of, it like, that back half, it reminded me of that, where she's just like, okay, none of this stuff even matters, and so I'm just going to, uh, none of this even matters, and I'm just going to just kind of just go through and just live life like nothing matters. Like, so just living life that way, so that it's just that. So um, it was a decent movie. It was a decent movie, and yeah, I'm trying to. It was some weird parts, man. Like I said, there was one look, bro. It's a couple weird parts, and it was just like, I'm like, oh my god, bro, why is it? But uh, but you see, but this is what I say, like, and this is I'm always of the standpoint that Sinners was a terrible movie, right? And for the scenes that it did have, or certain things, like it stuck out because of there's like a couple things that people will like mention or reference, right? And so outside of those, if you was able to like take that out, it was like, yeah, the movie's there was nothing. The movie's just trash overall. So this movie, it's like even if I don't have to mention these other little parts. They don't detract or deter. They don't take away from the movie at all. It doesn't make or break the movie. You know what I'm saying? So like some of those scenes that were in Sinners, those were like shock value scenes, and they weren't done really well, and they were like just relatively untasteful. Uh, not I don't think untasteful is the word, but it was that. And so like the scenes that I could mention in this movie, they don't even have to be that be on screen that long for one, and then the other part of it is it's not gonna take away from the movie. If if I mention it or not mention it, if you know what I'm saying, like they're not that long, and they're low key kind of funny. If you can't buy a sense of humor, but they're low key kind of funny. So it's even of a whether you do or don't like agree with the parts of it that may be portrayed, you can still like laugh at it. And that's why like I think that like some of those stuff is like different. And like there's like different things to like go and say with that. I don't think I need to, but I did see something that kind of do and don't make sense. Somebody was like, I'm an overthinker. Okay, well, I'll over explain. An overthinker needs an over explainer. But it was one of them type of things. Everything was decent. So like so you know what? I'm not even gonna mention those other little parts of the movie, but there are other little parts that be like, yo, this why is this here? This doesn't even but they're not done in such a distasteful. Is it distasteful or untasteful? Way. They're not done in that type of way. And so like I could at least laugh at it, and they were funny. So I'm like, you know what, whatever. Do we have to do a numerical value? I'm gonna say I'm not gonna say 6. I don't want to kind of sort of say, but I don't want to say a 10. Like this is what you want. There were still some like little things I still think it could have just done and went in a different way. But it definitely was very different. I'm 7.7. I want to say it's like 7.7. I feel comfortable saying 7.7, but you could just say like an 8. But all right, 7.8, 7.9. 8, 7.99, 7.99. I just, I just think there are just a couple little pivot and divot points. All right, I'll say 8. It's an 8. It's an 8. It's all right. I think, I think anybody could sit down and just kind of sort of enjoy parts of it. I think even it was even just still kind of cool just because like it has I'm watching it with subtitles, but then at the same time it's going to double up on subtitles because sometimes they're speaking English and sometimes they're speaking Japanese, and it is cool to see like that they're doing that um, just just casually throughout the movie. And the reason I say that is because sometimes you probably ever looked at somebody, or like if you ever walked into like one of the mommy and poppy stores and they speak in Spanish, or if you walk into some like stores and if you see like that they speak another language, they will sometimes like go back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Like between the English and their native language. So it was cool to kind of see that, and and that's why I said like in the last one she was like, "Get us the big nose," but she said it in her language, but she ain't say it in English. So like that's why I'm saying like those parts are kind of sort of cool. Those parts are kind of sort of cool. Then them going back and forth with the Japanese or Chinese, going back and forth with the Chinese and the English. It was a decent movie. I think most people could sit down generally and just watch it and enjoy some parts of it. But that's why I say like kind of it could just go down to 7.9, bro. 7.99. It's a 2-hour movie. It's a 2-hour movie, bro. It's a 2-hour movie, and like I did say, like there after some point I was like, yeah, this is one of those. It reminds me of one of them James where it's like, okay, this person goes through and it's just for them to appreciate what they have, and just that part of their life, just appreciating what they have. So like you know, you get the gist and vibe and feel of that very whatchamacallit. So that's all I can say. It's still like a 7.9. And like there's a lot of like going back and forth and like stretching it out. And there definitely could be some parts that are just like, can we clean this up, or you know, those type of things, and we can take some parts out. So I think it was that, bro. I think it was that. It was a decent movie, bro. It was a decent movie. Fun